So first of all, welcome to Darul Islah. For those of you who are regular members here, welcome back. For those of you who are here for the first time, welcome. We hope you enjoy your stay at our home and our masjid. And I'll start off with a couple of housekeeping rules. First of all, the bathroom in the back is designated for the sisters. For the brothers, there's a bathroom down this hall. I know it's hard to see, but trust me, it's there. When we break for salahs, the way we're gonna transition to the salah areas, we're gonna have the sisters go first. You can pray either here in the back or go downstairs. And after the sisters leave, then the brothers will get up and go for salah, inshallah. So before we start, I'll just give a brief rundown of what this class is to focus up to ready ourselves for Ramadan, which is coming up. Ramadan is in 1 month approximately, and the preparation for Ramadan should start now. Oftentimes we think that once Ramadan comes, we're going to be able to just get ourselves up and ready and in the zone, but it's not like that. We have to start preparing ahead of time, and for that reason, we have a class like this. So inshallah, we have Sheikh Mikaeel Smith. I'll introduce him properly in a bit, but the structure of the class is for about an hour from now until Maghrib, we're going to have the fiqh portion of Ramadan, understanding the fiqh, the rules of Ramadan, and then after Maghrib until Isha, it'll be more focused on the spiritual aspect, inshallah. But before all that, as usual, we like to start our programs with some recitation of Quran. So inshallah, we have Sheikh Walid, our very own Sheikh Walid from Darul Islah Hifz Academy, and he's going to start us off with some recitation, inshallah.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. سبحان الذي أسرى بعبده ليلا من المسجد الحرام سبحان الذي أسرى بعبده ليلا من المسجد الحرام إلى المسجد الأقصى من المسجد الحرام إلى المسجد الأقصى الذي باركنا حوله لنريه من آياتنا إنه هو السميع البصير. وآتينا موسى الكتاب وجعلناه هدى لبني إسرائيل وجعلناه هدى لبني إسرائيل ألا تتخذوا من دوني وكيلا وجعلناه هدى لبني إسرائيل ألا تتخذوا من دوني وكيلا ذرية من حملنا مع نوح إنه كان عبدا شكورا وقضينا إلى بني إسرائيل في الكتاب لتفسدن في الأرض مرتين وتعلن علوا كبيرا فإذا جاء وعد أولاهما بعثنا عليكم عبادا لنا أولي بأس شديد فجاسوا خلال الديار وكان وعدا مفعولا ثم رددنا لكم الكرة عليهم وأمددناكم بأموال وبنين وجعلناكم أكثر نفيرا ثم رددنا لكم الكرة عليهم وأمددناكم بأموال وبنين وجعلناكم أكثر نفيرا إن أحسنتم أحسنتم لأنفسكم وإن أسأتم فلها فإذا جاء عهد الآخرة ليسوءوا وجوهكم وليدخلوا المسجد كما دخلوه أول مرة وليدخلوا المسجد كما دخلوه أول مرة وليتبروا ما علوا تتبيرا عسى ربكم أن يرحمكم وإن عدتم عدنا وجعلنا جهنم للكافرين حصيرا إن هذا القرآن يهدي للتي هي أقوم ويبشر المؤمنين الذين يعملون الصالحات أن لهم أجرا كبيرا وأن الذين لا يؤمنون بالآخرة أعتدنا لهم عذابا أليما صدق الله العظيم.
Takbir. Takbir. Jazakallah khair, Sheikh Waleed, for that beautiful, beautiful recitation. Inshallah, without any further ado, I'll introduce our speaker for the night. Imam Mikaeel Ahmed Smith is an Islamic scholar, writer, and activist striving to meet the educational needs of communities in DC, Maryland, and Virginia. He currently serves as the Islamic and Quran coordinator and Islamic studies teacher for the Tarbiyah Academy. Imam Mikaeel previously served as resident scholar at the Islamic Society of Annapolis and the Islamic Society of Baltimore. At the age of 18, he embraced Islam after reading the Quran autobiography of Malcolm X. Within a year after his Shahada, Imam Mikaeel enrolled at the Darul Ulum Al-Madaniyah in Buffalo, New York, where he learned to read Arabic and memorize the Quran. In 2008, he traveled overseas to study Arabic at the Jamia Abu Nur in Damascus, Syria. Imam Mikaeel is passionate about meeting the needs of students of knowledge, building Islamic literacy, working with youth, and striving for social justice.
Jazakallah khair. We're going to have to update that bio. It's about 2 years old, but it's all good. Alhamdulillah. Assalamu alaikum. Yeah. How's everyone doing, inshallah? So, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man wala. Allahumma inna nas'aluka al-huda wa tuqa wal afafa wal ghina ya rabbil alameen. So, inshallah, we're gathered here this evening, inshallah, because this month of Ramadan is steadily approaching us. It's getting closer and closer. And the Prophet ﷺ, he would, mentally prepare. He would mentally get ready. And even some ahadith talk about how the people of Jannah prepare for Ramadan. So it behooves us as believers. Rasul ﷺ used to say, "Oh Allah, bless us in the month of Rajab and Sha'ban wa ballighna Ramadan." Oh Allah, bless us in the month that we're in right now and allow us to see the coming of Ramadan, inshallah. So we make that dua that, oh Allah, we ask you to allow us to reach the blessed month of Ramadan, inshallah ta'ala. As our beloved MC explained, what we have for you this evening, inshallah ta'ala, is a bit of Ramadan. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has taught us this deen through our beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but he also, through the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, taught us a way to do those ibadat, right? And so what we're going to do for the remaining, say, 45 minutes or so before Salat al-Maghrib, inshallah ta'ala, we're going to go through some of the fiqh behind Ramadan and fasting. And so we know how to do the fast, and we know those things, and we just have that in our head, and we're ready for that, inshallah ta'ala. But equally important, and some could say more important, but equally important, I'll say, is that we also understand the inner side of the fasting or any ibadah that we're doing. We understand the ruhani aspect of that. We understand what is it that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from us from the internal perspective, not just the external. I mean, ever since we're in Sunday school, we're being taught the external aspects of wudu, the external aspects of the prayer. All these things we're getting over and over again. But what we're lacking and what we're missing is the true soul, the true ruh behind those actions. And that is what really motivates our heart. And that is the thing that really pushes us to form a relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So in the second part of our gathering, right after Salat al-Maghrib, inshallah, I'm going to go through some detailed aspects of how we can get the most spiritual benefit out of this month of Ramadan and truly connect our hearts to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and get out of this blessed month what it is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants for us, inshallah. For the fiqh aspect, so we put these notes for you, right? And you guys know the deal, man. Fiqh is kind of like dry, yo. Like, I can be as charismatic as I can, but fiqh is fiqh. You know what I'm saying? You feel me, Dr. Miraj? Like, fiqh is fiqh, right? So fiqh is about the ahkam, the ruling, right? So inshallah, you put your thinking caps on for a bit, and try to dive into these rulings, inshallah. If you have any questions, just raise your hand, shout it out. It's only like, 60 of us in here. Or you could text them if they're a little more touchy. You don't want to shout it out, then you could text it there, inshallah ta'ala. Okay? All right, inshallah. Okay, so inshallah, we're going to begin. If you look at the notes on page 1, inshallah ta'ala, does everyone have the notes? Everybody got the notes? Everybody got the notes? All right, bismillah. So the first thing we have here is that when it comes to types of fast, all we're really concerned about right now is because of the month of Ramadan approaching us, that we're focused on the fard type of fast, the obligatory fast, which is Shahru Ramadan alladhi unzila fihi al-Quran. That is a fard obligatory fast. There are other types of fast, but that's not what we're really going to focus on. The next section is intention. The next section is intention. Intention is a very, very important aspect of the ibadah. What is intention? What do we mean by intention? What is intention? Brother in the back. Come on, bro. With the kufi. Yeah, what's intention? Yeah, exactly. So you have in your heart that I'm going to do something. That's the intention. Now the thing about fasting is not an action, it's the lack of an action. Do you know what I mean by that? Fasting is to not do something, right? Whereas all the other actions, salah, is a fail. It's an action that you're doing. You're doing something positive, where with fasting, what are you actually doing? You're just refraining from something, right? So I could wake up on a day and just not eat all day, but am I fasting? Not necessarily. What do we do to change an action from just an action to a form of ibadah? We have to connect it with what's called intention. Right? Now, for Ramadan, here's another trick question. And I'm going to ask the one next to you. Islamically, does the night come before the day or the day before the night? All right, that's an easy one, right? That's Sunday School 101. You got that. 100 points from a man right there. Okay. Yes, for Islam, yes, the night always comes before the day. So, when is the ideal time to make your intention to fast in the month of Ramadan? What's it going to be? The night before the day that you're going to fast. Exactly. Now, here's the next question. So we know what the best thing to do. The best thing to do is, as Fajr time is about to come in, I'm eating my suhoor, I'm making intention, I'm going to fast. That's from the nighttime. The moment Fajr comes in, now it's morning time, the night is over. Now here's my question. Let's say, my man, bro? Both, yeah, you. I thought you said Ramadan. I was about to say, man. All right. Hamza. Let's say Hamza, right? Hamza, you know, he's a typical teenager, likes to sleep a little bit too much, you know. Hamza goes to sleep right at Maghrib time. And he sleeps through Maghrib, he sleeps through Isha, he wakes up 7 a.m. the next morning. Yo, teenagers could do that easily. Here's my question for you. Can he make intention to fast that day? Yes, he can. For the fard of Ramadan, you can. So here's the deal. If you look at your notes, on the bottom paragraph it says, the time to make intention lasts up till midday. Dahwatul kubra, the middle of the day. So Ramadan, as long as a person has the intention for the majority of the day, then you're okay to fast for that day. You can make intention. Now, when did I say is the sunnah time? When is the best time? Nighttime. But you know, you sleep in, something happens. I slept through the night. I didn't even make an intention. I didn't even eat suhoor. I woke up, it's 7 a.m. Oh, what do? I can intention to fast that day. Everyone get that point, inshallah? Now, intention doesn't mean to articulate something. Intention just means you know what you intend to do. You have it in your heart. So obviously eating suhoor, that's an intention. Waking up for Fajr that morning, that's an intention. Don't think that intention means to necessarily articulate something. It's just that you know the action that you're doing and it's in your heart. Does everyone understand that point, inshallah? Any question regarding the intention aspect of fasting? Yes. Yeah, so there is a khilaf. So the question is this. Do I just make intention to fast the whole Ramadan? Or do I have to make intention to fast each day? All right, so the Malikis, they say you make intention at the beginning of Ramadan, you're good. Don't even think about it again. Dhahib, they go, no, you know what? Because each of these ibadas is separated by a moment of nighttime where I'm not fasting, each night you have to make a fresh intention. All right, each night you have to make a fresh intention. So to answer your question, I fasted on the first day of Ramadan. The night, as the next day is coming, I'm going to make a fresh intention to fast for that next day. Intention is very important, guys. Intention is the difference between fasting and you not fasting. Like if a person is sick, then they don't make intention to fast, right? They wake up that morning, don't make intention. So intention is the thing that qualifies and starts that fast. Any other questions on intention? Yes. 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 Yeah, that's why you can make it up till midday. Ahsant. Ahsant. That's perfect. That's why we said you can make it up till midday. The brother said the Prophet ﷺ, mashallah, so simple. Rasul ﷺ, he'd come back from Fajr, they prayed Salat al-Duha, he'd come back home, he said, Ya Aisha, is there any food? She said, nah man, no food today. He goes, all right, cool, I'm fasting today. What we call that in emotional intelligence, let's plug right here. What we call that emotional intelligence is cognitive flexibility, emotional agility. Meaning, you're not set in a way. You're already ready to take whatever the day throws at you. So I've been working on this topic of emotional intelligence for some time, and specifically the emotional intelligence of the Prophet ﷺ, and that is a clear example. You know, you walk in the house and someone goes, hey, there's no food today. Well, you can either flip out, you could be that, you could be like, what's going on? I bring money home, there's no food, what's going on? Or you go, oh, no food? All right, I'm fasting today. The ability to switch emotionally like this is in the Prophet ﷺ at the highest level. Some brothers are like, there's no salt, flips out. There's no sugar in the tea, flips out. I wanted chicken today, there's adas today, like, you know, on. Right? But no, the Prophet ﷺ had this cognitive flexibility where he's able to adjust to the situation and give the best response to that situation. Ahsant. Okay, any other questions regarding intention? No, that's a misnomer. That's what some of the uncles think. You don't have to. No way. Yeah, that's what, So others said, according to the Hanafis, He thinks that we have to say it verbally, and that's not true. A lot of that was passed down culturally, and it's okay. They think it's okay, like you said it. And I'll tell you the hikmah behind that. You ever like question yourself psychologically, like about something? Wait, did I think intention or no? If you said it, you know you did it for sure. But if it was just here, your mind could play tricks with you, especially if you're someone who gets those suggestions in your head. So the Hanafis say, you know what? Push shaitan away, just say it. No way to sown. Done. But according to the Ahnaf, it's just an intention in your heart that I'm going to fast, inshallah. Okay? Now, here's a question. Can I intend also, now this isn't so much fiqh, but can I intend to lose weight too in Ramadan? Can I intend to lose weight? Like, I'm not eating anyway. Like, I'm not going to say it, but in my head, I'm like, I'm going to check the scale every third day. Right? Because intention, you don't say. It's here. Here's the deal. Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, you all know this hadith, but maybe you don't know the beginning. إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ. All actions are based on intention. That hadith start. Muhajir Ummi Qais. Muhajir Ummi Qais. Who was he? Well, we don't know his name, but we know his nickname. His nickname is the one who did hijrah for the mother of Qais. So there's this Sahabi radiallahu an. Everybody's doing hijrah to Medina. And this brother has a sister in Medina who wants to get married. So she's like, yo, you come to Medina. We get married and you get the reward for hijrah. So the brother's like, why not? Yeah, I'm coming. So he does hijrah. I'm out. I'm moving. He arrives in Medina. Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam sees him coming. As he gets close, he says, من كانت هجرته إلى الله ورسوله فهجرته إلى الله ورسوله ومن كانت هجرته إلى الدنيا يصيبها امرأة ينكحها فهجرته إلى ما هاجر إليه. The Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, whoever does hijrah for Allah, does hijrah for Allah. Whoever does hijrah for dunya or to get married, the brother knows who he's talking about. He's the only one. فَهِجْرَةُ إِلَى مَا هَاجَرَ إِلَيْهِ. Is nikah, marriage, a bad thing? No, it's a great thing. So why is he being blamed for this? Why is he being called out? Forget blame. Why is he being called out for this? Anyone? You know why? The status of hijrah is very high. The reward for hijrah is azim, very high. To attach a lower thing to it slightly brings down that hijrah. You know what I'm saying? Like, if the qadi goes, he goes home, he brings some flowers to his wife, right? He goes home, he goes to the store, he buys flowers, he comes home, he says, I don't know what word he uses, he goes, honey, I'm American, we just say honey. He goes, honey, I brought some flowers for you. Her heart melts. MashaAllah. Then she finds out they were on sale and somebody gave them to him. Oh, now she goes, nah. Why? I still brought you flowers. It's the same thing. No, your intention wasn't the same. It's a different level. When you went to the store, you paid full price, and you brought me out of your way, okay, cool. But when, the flowers came anyway, they were on sale, it's a whole different thing. So, technically speaking, yes, but spiritually speaking, keep your fast solely for Allah. No other intention. Technically, okay, of course you could. But no, don't even mix up your intention. Your intention is solely what? This act is to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's the only intention. All right, let's go forward. Any other questions? All right, next thing. And we're going to talk more about the spiritual aspects right after Maghrib, inshallah ta'ala. Mustahab, things that are desirable to do. Number one, suhoor. Suhoor in the morning is one of the sunnahs of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Extremely desirable to do, to eat suhoor. Now, I know it's summertime. Sometimes it's easier to eat a big dinner at 11 and just knock out till Fajr. No. Wake up. get up, wake up, eat that suhoor, there's an immense blessing. The Prophet ﷺ made special dua and explained that there's barakah in that suhoor. So to wake up the family, wake everyone up, even your teenager who's like, I'm not hungry right now. You know what I mean? Like, wake them up too. Now, come on, let's have something. Eat something. Even if it's just a sip of water or a few dates or something. Then the next one, number 2, delay the suhoor. As I said, some people are like, you know what? It's 12 o'clock, I'll just eat my suhoor right now. Quote unquote suhoor, right? The sunnah is to delay it close to subh sadiq. Everyone understand? Next thing. These are just mustahab. I'm not talking about your prayer fast, your fast counting or not. We're solely talking about what's good to do during the month. Number 3, to end the fast right away. So you should break the fast right away. Whether it's water or a date or something like that, you should break it right away. You shouldn't delay it. I mean, most of us don't delay breaking the fast. We're like looking at the clock like, you know, what's going on? So we don't normally delay that, mashallah. Number 5 is to make intention min al-layl. Make intention min al-layl. To make intention from nighttime, that is mustahab. That's very good to do, inshallah ta'ala. Okay, now, there's a list here of things that are kind of considered to be makruh during the fast. And I'm going to go through some of these. There are differences of opinion. You always have to go to your local scholar. You always have to go to your local sheikh. Everyone understand? So I'm going through. This may be slightly different than your local scholar. At the end of the day, a local imam, that's the one you go to. You don't go from some out-of-town dude that flew in and flies out. Right, sheikh? You go to the local imam. Fahimtum? Okay, tayyib. So one thing, chewing gum or putting something in your mouth. So this here actually comes from classical texts that speak about ilk, chewing a type of gum those days that had no flavor and no anything like that. Obviously, the gum we have today is going to break your fast. So this point here, I don't want you to misunderstand that. So in your notes, you should write here that this is not talking about the type of gum that we eat today. Do you guys understand what I'm saying? So in the classical books of fiqh, it says that chewing gum is makruh. It doesn't break your fast. But that's a different type of gum than what we have today. Does everyone understand that point? Okay, good. Okay, next thing. No? They still have it, right? No flavor, nothing. It's just like chewing rubber. It's like nothing. It's not like what we would chew. Okay, number 2. To taste any article of food or drink and then spit it out. So, generally speaking, to taste food and spit it out is going to be makruh. Makruh means what? Does your fast break? No, but it's just not good to do. Fast doesn't break, it's just not good to do. However, the exception for chewing food is if a wife is cooking a meal for a large group of people, she wants to make sure that everything tastes okay, or if a mother has to chew up her food for her infant, right? Like chewing up the food, things like that. There are exceptions for when you could chew up the food and obviously spit it out. But if you accidentally swallowed, then according to the Ahnaf, your fast would break for sure, okay? So you would have to definitely be careful about that. There's a few other things there. Complaining about hunger, to take water too much into the nostrils. So you know when you're doing wudu and you inhale water into the nose, in Ramadan, you're not supposed to do that. La tubaligh fi, a little in the nose and let it come out. You shouldn't inhale the water like we normally do. Doing gargling for the Ahnaf, that's something you normally do when you do wudu, like you put water in your mouth and you gargle a little. But in Ramadan, you don't do that because you're scared about the chance of breaking the fast. Number 9 and 10 are more the aspects of fasting. We will talk about that in detail right after Salat al-Maghrib, inshallah ta'ala. Okay, next thing. So here's the deal. When it comes to breaking the fast, what breaks the fast? This is very important to understand. Yes, Muhammad, question. Yeah, please. Recommendation on toothpaste. I skipped it on purpose, bro. This is my student. I'm just picking on him. Okay, so most of the scholars do not recommend at all toothpaste for the chance of it going down your throat and breaking your fast. Yes. To use miswak is different, but to use toothpaste while you're fasting is not recommended at all. And if you're having trouble with that, for the hadith, the khuluf, the smell, is beloved by the angels, right? So, wallahu alam, may Allah reward you for your sabr, sacrifice in that. Stay away from your non-Muslim colleagues. Just, what's going on? How y'all doing? I'm good. You got to do what you got to do, inshallah. But it's not recommended to put that in your mouth. Now, if you did it and you didn't swallow any of it, your fast wouldn't break. You guys understand the rule. Putting something in your mouth doesn't break your fast. But the chances of you swallowing some of that are highly likely, so the scholars do not recommend to that. طيب? Okay. All right. Any questions? We're good? All right. Okay. Next issue. When it comes to Ramadan, breaking a fast in Ramadan is not the same as breaking a nafil fast. When it comes to breaking fast in Ramadan, it can result in something called kafara. It can result in something called kafara. What is kafara? Kafara is a type of penalty. It's a type of punishment, an expiation for someone who did this. Listen closely. Someone who started the fast and intentionally broke the fast, eating food or having intimate relations with their spouse. Intentionally. All right? It is a person started the fast and intentionally broke that, whether it be with food or drink. This is according to the Ahnaf, obviously all three of those things, and or intimate relations with one's spouse. That is the only thing that will mandate someone having to do kafara. Do you understand? So they actually started it, they actually began the fast, and then after begun the fast, they broke the fast intentionally. Does everyone understand? Any other type of breakage, like if the person broke it out of accident, we'll talk about forgetfulness, we'll talk about all those scenarios. None of those scenarios are going to necessitate kafara. Kafara is only when someone intentionally started the fast and then intentionally broke it. That person's going to have to do kafara. Now, what is kafara? Well, the Quran tells us at the third page, it's either going to be fasting for 60 consecutive days, or it's going to be feeding 60 poor people, and you can see the different options that are there. Okay? So again, I want to reiterate this. Kafara is only going to be in one situation, when a person takes any of the mufattirat, like eating, drinking, or intercourse, intentionally after having started. طيب, inshallah, any questions on that? Okay, yes. Yes, so any other scenario will render it just a qada. The question is, what if I had to break it out of necessity? Like, say someone has to take insulin or something, some medical condition, or whatever it may be, whatever scenario. In that case, the fast is still going to break. No matter if you digest something, if you eat something and it wasn't out of forgetfulness, you're going to break the fast. But it's just going to be qada, which is not a big deal. We always look at qada as some bad thing, but qada just simply means you have to make up that day. Just as if you were traveling and you ate that day, you would make it up another day. Or if you were sick and you ate that day, you would have to make up that day. Do you understand? So only when a person has started it and just broken the fast without any excuse whatsoever. Okay? Yes. Exactly. Great question. The question is, what if I fear I'm going to get sick today? So I'm going to try to fast and this and that. Well, according to many of the scholars, it's better if you are sick and you're in that condition, you're ma'dhur. You don't have to fast that day. Now, if you started the fast and the circumstances were such that the doctor is saying, no, you have to break the fast, then you can break the fast, but you're not supposed to put yourself in that hardship. And I know many of our grandparents and our elders and all of us, we want to do as much as we can, but Allah doesn't force you to that. If you can't fast, you can't fast. And you know what? Allah sees that desire in you to want to fast. So there's one thing that one of my teachers shared with me. There was a Sahabi who had come to the masjid. He came to the masjid for jama'ah, and in those times, they didn't have on time, people stand up before the imam now. There's 6 o'clock, start right now. What's going on? Imam, where are you at? In those days, when the Prophet ﷺ would look around, looks like everyone's here, Bismillah, we start. So one Sahabi, he comes late. And when he walks into the masjid, he sees peeing out. So the moment he sees someone walking out, he says, is the prayer over? He says, yeah, we just finished. So he goes, like that. You know what the Sahabi who was coming out said? He said, I'll trade the reward I got for my prayer with your reward for going, Did you get that, guys? He said that Allah loves that you hate that you missed it so much. That I wish I got the reward you got for saying, oh man, oh, Allah loves that. So if you can't fast, Allah sees that desire in you, and that's beloved by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's beloved by Allah. Allah sees that pain. Allah sees that pain. And that goes for sadaqah and so many other things as well. So when it comes to qadha now, here's the deal. When it comes to qadha, anything that makes it to the cavity of the stomach. Now here's the difference. Except for forgetfulness. According to the Ahnaf, anything that gets to your stomach is going to break your fast. So let's give an example. I like to jog. I'm out jogging and it's raining, right? And I open my mouth wide and rain comes down my throat and I swallow some rain. And I know I swallowed it. Like, I'm positive. I'm positive. My fast will break. Now, you may be saying, wait, you didn't intend to do that. Yes. So the Ahnaf, they say, look, forgetfulness is one thing. If you forget, if I'm fasting and I forgot I was fasting, there's specific hadith, Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he said, no, you forgot, your fast is still fine. But to do it on purpose or for it to reach your stomach for any other way out of forgetfulness will still break the fast, but there's no kafara. The fast is nonetheless broken, so you have to make that day up, but nonetheless there's no kafara because there was no intent, belligerence, or anything like that. Do you understand? Now there is a bit of a difference of, you're going to ask your local imam, the other a'imma, the other madhahib say that if you accidentally did something, it doesn't break the fast as well. Okay? But again, you'd go to your local imam and ask that question. Yes, if you took the less cautious route on the toothpaste and it accidentally went down, then you have to ask the other a'imma, but according to the other imams, that would not break it intent. But for my madhab, the Hanafi madhab, look, if it gets to your stomach, your fast broke. The only exception is when you did it out of nisyan. Nisyan means forgetfulness. But there's a difference. Again, you would go back to your local imam, and I'm sure they're going to do a Ramadan, prep like a week before, to wash out all this confusion I'm putting up here, right? Imam's like, does everyone understand the difference? Let's answer a few questions. Yes. Qadha. When should you perform qadha fast? Right after Eid al-Adha. Eid al-Fitr, sorry. So you can't fast on Eid al-Fitr, it's haram. But as soon as it's over, as other people start doing the, Shawwal, start making up yours. Right? Start making up yours. Yes. Yeah, I've heard that before, exams, and is that an excuse to break? I don't know that to be an exam. You can ask your local imam. I don't know what fatwa he gave on that, but according to what I know to be correct, an exam is not an excuse to not do an ibadah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I've never, no, to be quite frank. I don't know what the local imam is on that. Please ask your local imam on that issue. But from what I know, that is not an excuse to break an ibadah. If they're children, they don't have to fast in the first place. If they're not mature children, they don't have to fast in the first place. But, all of us are struggling. I got work, you got exam, we got, that's life, right? So I don't know that to be an excuse to break a fast. Again, if you have a local imam, that's the fatwa. You always go with your scholar. Okay, everyone? All right, jazakallah. Question? Yes. Oh, that would... Yeah, so no, the one that's oral, like if they had to... Okay, so let's talk about medicine. If a person wasn't taking necessary medicine and they took it orally, it would break the fast. Not necessary. We're talking like, I'm just going to take an allergy pill. I'm just going to take an extra Tylenol, right? It's not me. I'm not in a serious situation. That would break the fast. Doctor says you have to take some medicine. It's going to kill you. That's your ma'dhur, your excuse. You can break the fast. Now, into the veins, intravenous like that, doesn't break fast at all. It's only what is directly consumed here. Directly consumed here. Okay? The other thing here is smoking. Smoking would nullify the fast. There is some difference of opinion on that issue as well. Please see your local imam on that issue as well. Things that don't break the fast, there's a ton of things there. I'm not going to go through all of these just because if you just understand the rulings that I kind of like laid out for you, if it doesn't reach your throat or stomach, then it doesn't break your fast, quite frankly. That's it. If something doesn't reach your throat or stomach, it doesn't break your fast, and that's how you can kind of understand that. How about this? Who are exempted from fasting? On page 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, who is exempted from fasting? Who is exempted from fasting? The sick person is exempted. They don't even have to start the fast. That's what the sister was asking about. The person who is sick, marid, they don't start the fast. There's no need to fast that day. The whole day, they are ma'dur. They do not fast that day. Okay? And then they just make up the day after Ramadan. The second is a traveler. A person who is considered a traveler. That person is, the Quran tells us, كَانَ عَلَى سَفَرٍ أَوْ إن كان مريضا أو على سفر فعدة من أيام أخرى. If the person is traveling, then they can make up that fast on a later date. Okay? Number 3, if the person is already, yes? Yeah. Any reason traveling. Yeah, you could be at the Bahamas chilling, bro. Yeah, you go for a family trip to the Bahamas. Yes, yeah, you're good. You're a traveler. The Sharia says traveler is a traveler. Now, if you're traveling to steal something. Yeah, so let's get to that. Good point. Listen, traveling now because it's not the same. You travel from here to Philly. Now and according to most madhahib, you would be considered a traveler. But you're in AC car. You don't have the conditions of difficulty. Most would say, no, it's Ramadan. We encourage you to fast. Now, technically, you cannot. And there'll be no sin upon you. But it's easy. And you know what? It's easier when everyone's fasting too. It's harder to make it up later when you're the only one doing it. So get the benefit of Ramadan. You don't have all the difficulty. So the scholars, as Sheikhna is explaining, the scholars encourage that if possible, you should definitely fast. Now, if you're taking a flight over to Cali from here, now your fast is going to be long. That's in the case where you go, you know what? I'm going to be traveling today. Maybe I don't want to fast. Okay? All right, the third one is that someone fears that their hunger or thirst will lead to extreme death or extreme illness. This person can just break the fast at that moment. Nothing wrong with that. The fourth is for women. Women during their traveler. The Sharia says traveler is a traveler. Now, if you're traveling to steal something. Yeah, so let's get to that. Good point. Listen. Traveling now because it's not the same. You travel from here to Philly. Now and according to most madhahib, you would be considered a traveler. But you're in AC car. You don't have the conditions of difficulty. Most would say, no, it's Ramadan. We encourage you to fast. Now, technically, you cannot fast. And there'll be no sin upon you. But it's easy. And you know what? It's easier when everyone's fasting too. It's harder to make it up later when you're the only one doing it. So get the benefit of Ramadan. You don't have all the difficulty. So the scholars, as Sheikhna is explaining, the scholars encourage that if possible, you should definitely fast. Taking a flight over to Cali from here, now your fast is going to be extremely long. That's in the case where you go, you know what? I'm going to be traveling today. Maybe I don't want to fast. Okay? All right, the third one is that someone fears that their hunger or thirst will lead to extreme death or extreme illness. This person can just break the fast at that moment. Nothing wrong with that. The fourth is for women. Women during birth or postnatal or breastfeeding or pregnant. If they fear for the child or for themselves, breastfeeding, pregnant, they can also choose not to fast as well. Okay? And obviously they would have to make that up later. Now, what about people who are done fasting? Meaning they no longer can fast because of their health. They can no longer fast. So what they do is they give fidya for each day that they don't fast. Right? And the fidya is whatever the sadaqatul fitr is for your masjid, that each day. So whatever that number is, it would be times 30. That's why it's encouraged for actually masjids to keep that number low, because if there's an elderly family, both of them are not fasting, now they have to give that number times 60, right? One for each day. So that's why ulama, scholars, encourage the masjid to keep sadaqatul fitr low, just because that same number is the number that those who are not fasting, they're going to pay that fitr. They're going to pay that for each day that they're not fasting. Okay, so these are just basically what we want. Oh, yes. Wa alaikum salam. Yeah, you should not eat breakfast before you leave. No. Because what if you don't go? The brother said, I'm traveling at 11. Can I eat breakfast at 9? No. When you leave, at that point would be the only time that you have, and you start your journey, that's when you would have the permission to break the fast. Yes. Oh, yes. وَأَن تَصُومُوا خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ. Okay. Then? يُرِيدُ اللَّهُ بِكُمُ الْأُسْرَ وَلَا يُرِيدُ بِكُمُ الْأُسْرَ. Okay. من أيام أخرى. Where's that? That's not the siyaq is.
No, they think this is the ayah. It's related to someone is sick or traveling.
Okay, so Shaykhna, naam. وأن تصوموا خير لكم. Naam, but la haraj. Yeah, there's no haraj. The ayah does say تصوموا خير لكم. Yes, fasting is better. That's in the normal state. But if you have an udhr, a shar'i udhr, excuse that is considered a valid excuse from the Sharia, then you should definitely take the rukhsa and not fast, especially if it's dangerous to your health. So, yes. So I understand it is better to fast, but not when you're sick or traveling. As in here, yes, go ahead. Mostly. Okay, but so now, since it's, I understand what you're saying, that the question is inhaler, that is it pure just air coming in? Is there other solution in there? So because of the mix of other medicine in there and the fact that it's on the throat, that's why the scholars say that it would break the fast. There's no kafara, there's no penalty. It's just that it would break the fast. You are excused to take it. It says the person is excused to take it. If breathing becomes extremely difficult, then it is permissible to take the inhaler, although it will break the fast. It's just the fact that something has reached down the throat. Now, if it doesn't reach down the throat, then a person could make that argument. But that's what scholars generally say about the inhaler. Yes. The question is, when I have to pay the fidya for not fasting, do I give it to the masjid or can I send it back home to another country? You have ikhtiyar, you have a choice. When you put it in the masjid, remember you're making the masjid. The masjid is now going to find someone to give that to. But it's always better for you to put it in the hand of a poor person yourself. It's always better for you yourself, if you know someone home that is deserving, to send it yourself. That's always the better way to do that, for sure. Okay? No. Okay, so listen, so we just did basic fiqh of this. We were just covering the rulings. Immediately after our sunnahs and our maghrib and sunnah, we're going to be going through the deeper spiritual aspects and the benefits of the fast. None of the fiqh aspects, but more the spiritual aspects of it for our heart, our mind, and our soul, and why the fasting is so important for our ruhani ghidha, for our ruhani enrichment, and how we can make this the best Ramadan from a ruhani. We'll be speaking about that right after Salatul Maghrib, inshallah ta'ala. As soon as everyone's back, we'll get started, inshallah. We don't have much time, and this is the actual part I really wanted to focus on with everyone. So those in the main prayer hall, they probably can't hear me, right? Okay. So I think we can start now. You want to introduce?
Yeah. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum once again. Back to the remaining half of the program, inshallah. I'll keep it short and sweet because we are short on time. One of the brothers requested to announce what time the program will be ending. Inshallah, the plan is for the talk to go until 8:50, and then there will be some light refreshments. And again, the housekeeping rules in case you came late. The bathroom in the back is for the sisters, and the bathroom here on my left down the hallway is for the brothers. And without further ado, inshallah.
Okay, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, wa salatu wa salam ala Sayyidina wa Nabiyyina Maulana Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam wa ba'd. Bismillah. So we're continuing where we left off previously. In the first part, we were just specifically expressing and talking about the fiqh aspect. We want to completely look away from that and talk about a different thing. The thing we have to understand, and I don't have a lot of time, I thought we would have more time to get into this, but we're going to look at Ramadan from three perspectives. I need you to write this down. We're going to look at Ramadan from three specific perspectives. Number one is going to be the cognitive and the mental perspective of how Ramadan affects us. Number one, the cognitive or mental on our body, our physical. How does Ramadan affect us in the physical? The first thing first, Ramadan is coming. What happens to all of us? Me personally, I can't have coffee in the morning. Anyone else coffee addict? I can't have coffee. Chai? Okay. Here's the deal. Ramadan will naturally break all of your habits. Now, what many of us try to do as Ramadan comes is do whatever we can to hold on to those habits. So me, I'm going to squeeze my coffee in early morning, or I'm going to take that slow release caffeine pill. Slow release. Ramadan by nature, it breaks your adat. What's the word? Adat. Your habits. It's what you do normal. And for many of us, when we think of Ramadan coming, we start to dread Ramadan because my whole schedule is going to be thrown off. I won't drink normal. I won't go to sleep normal. Everything's going to be messed up. But you know what? From the cognitive perspective, what you have to understand is Allah is blessing you through this month of Ramadan by breaking your habits. Month of Ramadan, Allah is blessing you from a cognitive, mental perspective by forcing you to break habits. Let's talk about the mind for a minute. First time you ever drove to work, you had GPS on, you were focused, two hands on the wheel, and you were looking at every turn. You've worked there for a year. You can drive there in your sleep now. In fact, Sunday morning, you get in the car, what happens accidentally? You start driving to work. Brothers start driving to school. He's like, I don't even got school today. Why does this happen? Well, we all know from a neurological perspective, there are synapses in the brain. And when you do something over and over again, what happens? Tell me what happens. Those neurological pathways become very, very strong. Very strong. Now, this is a great blessing of Allah. Why? Why does Allah allow these synapses to connect and become strong? To make it easier. Can you imagine every day you got to put the GPS on? Can you imagine every day you got to relearn how to make coffee? I mean, I use a French press, so I'm like a snob with coffee, so it's more than just pressing the button. But imagine you had to relearn everything every day. So the blessing of our brain, whatever you do habitually, you don't have to think about it anymore, and you can just do it naturally. But there's a problem with that blessing. There's a big problem with that blessing. What's the problem? Blue shirt. What's the problem? Nope, behind. Yeah, you. Yeah. So the blessing is what? The neural synapses are formed for the things I do every day. I don't have to think about them anymore. But I'm saying that's a great blessing, but there's a hardship in that blessing. What is it? There's a trial. There's a negative aspect of that. No? Sister? Okay, that's one. I didn't think of that. Bad habits also get ingrained. That is profound. Keep that in your mind because we're going to do that. What else? That's what she said. Perfect. You're not thinking anymore. You're living life and you literally don't think. Everything that you do habitually, you don't have to think while you do it. So you adopt a way of living where I don't have to be mindful. I don't have to be cognizant. I can just go to work. I can do my whole job. Not even think about it. I can do my whole job. It's so monotonous. It's so monotonous that I'm literally on autopilot from the moment I wake up in the morning until I come back. I can do the whole thing. Now, there's a problem with that from the perspective of a believer. There's a problem. We're Muslims. What's the problem? If I'm just doing everything on auto, there's a major problem. I couldn't hear her. I'm sorry. The mashallah, beautiful children. Okay, beautiful. There's something deeper, sister. I shared a hadith with you, said what? What does that mean? All actions are based on? What does intention mean while I'm doing an action? You're mindful of the action you're doing. You're aware of what you're doing. Your mind is present the moment you're doing it. Take it to the extreme. Prayer. I'm a convert. I'm a new Muslim. Even though I've been Muslim for 16 years, they still call me new Muslim, bro. Like, when will I not be new? Like, when do I get the badge of just Muslim? Anyways, different halaqah, different day. First time I prayed salah, you know how much focus I had? You know why? Because I had to think of every movement. I was like, like I was present. Now, you know me, you know you. From Allahu Akbar to the dua, autopilot, man. Unfortunately, that's the case, right? So listen to this. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commands us to have presence of mind, intention, in something that we do 5 times a day, every day of our lives. Do you know how cognitively difficult that is? Because whatever you do habitually, you put autopilot on. What I'm trying to highlight here is the point. Here's the point. The point is Ramadan does something amazing to us. You know what it does? You see that? What does Ramadan do? Not just stop. It brings mindfulness into everything I'm doing. Cognitively, I'm rethinking everything I do in life. Cognitively, I'm rethinking every step I make. Everything I'm doing, I'm automatically now, I'm on like hurt. Like, nah, yo, that breaks my, no, does that break my, no, like, you're like doing some dance, right? I'm not breaking it down up here, right, y'all? The point being, what is the point? That through that fast, what has Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, through that breaking the habit, what has Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala done to us here? He brought back intention. Do you know people, they get to the age of like 45, 50 and have misses because they were just living life and never thought about it? They're like, what was I doing for the last 15, 20 years? I never stopped to think. I never stopped to think about what was I doing. You know, you ever call technical support for a gadget and the person on the line tell you to turn it off? You know what I'm talking about, Dr. Sub? My phone's not working. They're like, sir, can you turn it off for me? You turn it off, it works again. Like, they pay you for that? Just to tell me to turn the thing off? Sometimes what I'm trying to say is by stopping us, turning that off for a moment, it allows us to reboot and start fresh. What happens the day after Ramadan when you reach for a drink? Huh? You think about it. Do you realize other people they go their whole lives and don't rethink anything? When you really contemplate over this point I'm making, you'll realize it's such a blessing. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is literally stopping those synapses that are constantly formed. Now, she brought a beautiful point that I never thought about, which is this. I was looking at normal habits, that I'm looking at all my normal habits. But what she brought up is a beautiful point. At the same time that I'm reprogramming my normal habits, I also get the opportunity to do what? Reassess the old habits too, the bad ones too. So cognitively, and here's the deal. I want you to picture something in your head. The word ada in Arabic. The word is ada. I'm going to draw it for you. Ain, alif, dal, ta. Circle ta. What is it? Ain, alif, dal, ta. What is that word ada? What does that mean? Habit. Habit. I'm going to spell another word for you. And I'm going to add one thing to it. Aba. Ain, ba, alif, ta. What is it? Ibadah. The only thing that changes ada to ibadah is intention. That's it. Mindfulness. Mindfulness. Your mind is present. Ramadan is going to break my coffee habit. It's going to break your tea, not TV, that too, but it's going to break your tea drinking habit. It's good. You guys don't laugh a lot, I see. Okay. Break all of your habits. It's going to break them. That's the beauty of it. And that's the cognitive blessing of Ramadan, is you have to allow it to break those habits so you can reassess them, so that you can have intention in them again, and so that you can have mindfulness in everything you're doing after the month of Ramadan. And mindfulness, by the way, is the key for ibadah, but it's also the key for your relationships with one another. Right? Right? If you just got mindfulness when you go home, say, honey, how are you? You put your phone down. Imam again with the flowers. You guys weren't here. If you weren't here before, you don't know what I'm talking about. Imam is just mindfulness. Just being present with people. Right? So when we learn mindfulness in the prayer, we're able to apply that outside as well. The problem is we're in the prayer not mindful. We talk to people, we're not mindful. We're not present in that moment that we're in. So first cognitive benefit. What is the benefit of it? Is what? What's the benefit of it? Mindfulness. Breaking the habit, allowing you to reassess habits and the things you do. So here's the thing. Welcome the change. That's my point to you. Summary of this point, welcome the change that Ramadan brings. Don't fight the change. Man, I'm going to mess up my whole sleep schedule, this, that. No, welcome it. Bismillah. Throw my schedule off. It's good. I want to reassess life right now. I'm telling you, other non-Muslims don't get that chance. A whole month. And then when it's over, now I have to reprogram myself to eat properly. I have to reprogram but I'm starting fresh again. Other people don't do that. 40 years, midlife crisis, gotta go bungee jumping. I gotta go bungee jumping because I don't know if I was living the whole last 30 years. But what do we have? Reset button. Stop right now. Break your habits. Stop even eating. The thing is, the most habitual thing is eating. The most common thing is eating. So God's like, Allah's like, I'm going to break your eating habit so you can assess all the other habits. Everyone understand this point? It's an amazing point if you understand it. And for me, I realize that's the biggest thing. My habits have to break. I have to allow that to happen. Let's go to the next thing. So we said that we were going to talk about how many per fasting? 3. Which one did we just talk about? The cognitive. What do we mean by cognitive? Mental. Next thing, spiritual. Ruhani. What is the ruhani benefit of the fast? Ruhani benefit in one word is homeostasis. The ruhani benefit in one word is what? What does that mean? What is that? What is homeostasis? She nodded. What is it? She nodded. No. You nodded, so you called yourself out. Yeah, she's like, mm-hmm. I'm like, sister. She's like, I'm just picking. Sorry. Doctors, homeostasis kya hai? What is homeostasis? Yo, what is it? Yeah. So it's like the balance of heat, right? The balance of heat with cold, with moisture, and all these things. Your body is always striving to be in perfect balance. You can look at Ramadan spiritually as bringing back homeostasis to your whole existence. How so? Break it down this way in your notes. One thing, خُلِقَ مِن تُرَاب. Human being is made it out of what? Number one element is turab. What's turab? Dirt. You were created from dirt. The body, the physical form, from dirt. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust, they say. Right? But what is the other aspect of us? وَنَفَخْتُ فِيهِ مِرْ رُوحِ. So what is, ontologically speaking, we look at the human being as, number one is from the body, the jism. Number two is what? The ruh. The ruh. Like that thing. Now here's the thing. When the connection between the two breaks, things return from where they came. When the soul leaves the body, which way does the body go? Up or down? It falls down. Because it was from the ground. So that's where it falls. But when the soul lets go of the body, which way does the soul go? SubhanAllah. Because that's where it came from. It's like gravity reverse. No, seriously, it's like gravity reverse because that's where it came from. The only thing holding the soul down is your body. But it naturally wants to go back up. And the only thing your body up is the soul. It naturally wants to just fall back down. And that's, so we understand these two things. That's deep, right? Tweet it, yo, tweet it, don't worry. So listen, no, seriously. So what we have to understand, though, is this part, though. Listen closely. Listen closely. Where does the nourishment for each of these aspects in existence come from? So, the body came from where? Where does its nourishment come from? From ground. Animals and plants. Plants eat the, animals eat the plants, plants, you know the cycle, you studied it. That's how the body stays, thing. Next question. You already know where does the ruh nourishment come from? Allah. Allah. Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu istajibu lillahi wa lirrasuli idha da'akum lima yuhyikum. Allah says in the Quran, Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu istajibu. You who believe, answer the call of Allah and His Rasul. They call you to that thing which gives you life. The nourishment for your body comes from above. Now, Ramadan is special. You got that nourishment right now in Maghrib prayer. Qadi was ripping it, yo. Like he was dropping it. It's beautiful. It's like, yo, I can sit here all day. You got that nourishment, but how is Ramadan different? You know how? You get more of it. Taraweeh. You get more of it, but there's something else too. Two more factors. There's two more deep factors of Ramadan. You already know it. I know you know it. Huh? Shaitan is locked up, number one. Shaitan is locked up, number one. That's a major influence. The satanic influence is taken away. So now it's just you against something else. You against yourself. That's it. Now, what about the self? It's been fasting all day. It's weak. It's tired. Have you ever protect all of us? But do you know anyone who's lost their sight, for example? What happens to their hearing? When the body is deprived of its nourishment and weakened, the ruh becomes stronger. Especially in Ramadan, when you're blitzing it, bombarding it with dua, dhikr, Quran. Now all of a sudden, tahajjud, little tahajjud, you'd be mad light for tahajjud. The alarm goes off, you just, before Ramadan, I can't even move. I didn't even hear the alarm. What you talking about? Why? Because see, what happens outside of Ramadan is we're feeding the body so much that the soul is under miskeen, like, yo, can I breathe? And when a struggle comes, the body's too strong. Hayya ala salah, salatu khayrun min an-nawm. Body wants sleep. Ruh wants Allah. Body's like, I'm brolic, bro. You weak. I'm strong. You weak. So guess who's going to win today? Qadha Fajr. Qadha Fajr. But when you starve the body and you train the body, and on top of that, you fill the ruh with a lot of spiritual nourishment, all of a sudden, the ruh's like, yo, I'm strong. I got this. You wake up for Fajr, you wake up for Tahajjud, someone walks past you, lower your gaze, you're like, nah, haram, I'm good. Outside of Ramadan, you'd be like, yo. The soul is like, stop looking, like, no, right? Why? The body's too strong. So what we're learning here is this homeostasis has to be built. How? In this month, Allah's like, let me show you what will happen to you if you don't focus on the body so much and you focus on the ruh. Now, how do we feed the soul in Ramadan? Number one, listening to or reciting the words of God, the words of Allah. Listening to them, letting yourself hear it. Letting yourself hear it. Ibn Qayyim al-Jawziyah, rahimahullah, he says there's 3 levels of listening. You know, in English we say, I know you hear me, but are you listening? You know, sometimes like, nah, you ain't listening to me. I know you heard me. Allah subhanahu, Ibn Qayyim al-Jawzi, he says, the first type of listening is just hearing the words, just through udhun. He says, sima'ul udhun, just hearing here. The second level of listening is sima'ul qalb. What is it? وَهُوَ شَهِيد. Naam? أَلْقَى السَّمْعَ وَهُوَ شَهِيد. أَلْقَى السَّمْعَ means the people who benefit from the Quran, they put their ears there, وَهُوَ شَهِيد. But the heart is there too. The heart is present there. So the second level of listening is what? Listening with the heart. You know the third listening? It's ajib. He says, nah. Listening for acceptance and obedience only. Let me give an example. Listening for acceptance and obedience is sima' qubul wal ijaba. Let me give an example. There was a verse revealed. The verse revealed at the end of Surah Baqarah about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will hold you accountable for what you even think. Before that, we have to go backward. I have to look at it. Tayyib, inshallah. Let me give you the example, now look at it. Before that, go before قَالُوا سَمِعْنَا وَأَطَعْنَا. لَا يُكَلِّفُ اللَّهُ نَفْسًا إِلَّا وُسْعَهَا لَهَا مَا كَسَبَتْ. Before that, the verse that was revealed was saying that whatever you do, whatever you think, Allah will hold you accountable for. So the Sahaba, they said, Ya Rasulullah, how are we going to be held accountable? So Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, the verse was revealed, don't say that. Just say, قَالُوا سَمِعْنَا وَأَطَعْنَا. When you say سَمِعْنَا, and we hear and we obey, immediately the relief was revealed. So then the whole rest of it was revealed. The point being is Ibn Qayyim al-Jawzi, he says that when we listen to the Quran, what we have to do, the first listening is just hear. Now, to be real, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلَوْ عَلِمَ فِيهِمْ خَيْرًا لَأَسْمَعَهُمْ وَلَوْ أَسْمَعَهُمْ لَتَوَلَّوْا وَهُمْ مُعْرِضُونَ. Some people hear it, but it doesn't go past here. I ain't hear it. Some people hear it, they understand it, they don't listen. Heard it, I understood it, no ijabah, no qubul. Allah says some people He doesn't even let hear it. He doesn't even let hear it. He doesn't even let it get to them. The first way we nourish the soul is what? Quran. Quran. Connecting to the Quran. Listening to the Quran. Reading it with fahm. That may mean reading it in English. But reading it with fahm. Reading it with understanding. Contemplating over. You know when you fall in love with somebody and you get a letter from them? You know how you read that letter? Imam, you know what I'm talking about. You get that letter, man. You just read it. You look at the back of the letter. You look at how she spelled the words. You just fall in love with everything about the letter. You smell her? Yeah, he knows. See? My man was smelling the letter. MashaAllah, uncle. MashaAllah. He still got some left in him. MashaAllah. No, you get a letter from someone you love. Wallahi, you get a letter from someone you love. You just look at it sometimes. You know, one of the mashayikh, he told a story. There was an old uncle in India who passed away. This was a simple man. Simple man. Not even ma'ruf in the village. He passed away. He passed away. They went to dig a grave for him. They placed him in the grave and they started to smell this beautiful fragrance coming from the grave. And everyone smelled it. Where is that coming from? It's coming from the grave. They go to the house, they ask the wife, they say, this was a simple man. What did he do so special? We saw this mu'jiza, we saw this, we all smelled it. What did he do? You know what she said? She said he was a simple man. He used to go work and come home. But you know what? He couldn't read Quran. They're like, what? It's like he never learned. So every morning, he would take the mushaf in it and just run his fingers over the words. He couldn't read it. But he would take his finger and just run it over the words. And he would say, Hada kalamu Rabbi. These are the words of my Lord. These are the words. The sheikh of the city, he said, that love for Allah's kalam is what made this man a man of Jannah. He couldn't even read it, forget understand it. But he loved it. He loved it. The problem is, many of us, we love other things over music, over Quran. Maybe that was a Freudian slip. Maybe it wasn't. I don't know. We love other types of... We don't love the Quran. We have to get that. We have to ask Allah to put in our hearts a love for the Quran. We have to ask that, Allah, I want to love your Quran. I want to know what you're saying to me. I want to love it. I want to just look at it and smell it like the uncle. Number one, Quran. Number two, dua. At the bottom of the page, إِذَا سَأَلَكَ عِبَادِي عَنِّي. The same page of Ramadan, at the bottom, when the slave, ibadi, and when my slave asks about me, فَإِنِّي قَرِيب. No qul, فَإِنِّي قَرِيب. I'm close. Dua, dua, dua. Listen, here's a problem. You know why it's hard for me and you to make dua? You know why me and you don't make dua? Because our whole life we were taught from the age of 4, learn how to do things yourself. A little child, we teach them, okay, you can do it yourself now. Nope, do it yourself now. Do it yourself now. Don't ask mommy for help. And guess what? That stays here. When we raise our hands, it's the complete opposite. When we make dua, it's the complete opposite. Do you guys understand the point? If you were trained over and over, bas khud karo, do it yourself. Don't ask anything, you do it, you do it, you do it. The meaning of dua is the exact opposite. The meaning of dua is, Ya Allah, I can't do anything, only you. So for so long, we've been trained to do it yourself. When I raise my hands to Allah, I don't even know how to ask Him to do it for me. I don't even know how to ask. Because I've only been trained, do it yourself. That's a sign that you've grown up. That's a sign you're mature. That's a sign of something. So the point is, Ibn Ata'Allah al-Askandari, he says, حَقِّقْ فَقْرَكْ. حَقِّقْ فَقْرَكْ. He says, realize how poor you are before God. حَقِّقْ فَقْرَكْ means truly when you make dua, realize you can't do anything. Anything. Right now, you depend on your 401k, you depend on retirement fund, you depend on this, you think I'm good, it's coming. No, you're a faqir to Allah. All that can be gone right now. Bam, done. You are a faqir to Allah. Faqir. When you realize you're a faqir, he says, that's when the gifts of God come. إِنَّمَا الصَّدَقَاتُ لِلْفُقَرَاءِ. إِنَّمَا الصَّدَقَاتِ. Allah says, sadaqah is for the faqir. Ibn Atta says, when you realize that you are faqir to Allah, why am I saying this? Listen, I'm a millennial too. We've been trained. Don't ask anyone for nothing. Do it yourself. But when you make dua, it's the complete opposite mentality. It's saying, I can't do it, Ya Allah. Can I give you an example? Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, if you run out of salt, before you ask your neighbor, what do? Ask Allah. What? Salt? Salt? Wait, why would I ask God for salt? Why would I ask Allah? Now, you know salt is something considered, like next door neighbors have it. So you don't even think twice to go next door and say, can I get some salt? Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said something as simple, as common as salt runs out. You go, Ya Allah, salt. Can you imagine if you turn to Allah for salt, what you would do in your other situations? Right? Can you imagine? But right now we go, I got the salt, I got the car note, I got the mortgage, I got your child's education, no. You have to realize I'm a faqir before Allah. Once you do that, dua becomes easy. Dua becomes easy. So number 1, Quran. Number 2, dua. Number 3, dhikr. It includes all those things you all just said. Dhikr means remembrance. Remembrance. Man ahabba shay akthara min dhikri. When you love something, you keep talking about it. Imam. I don't know, uncle. What's your name, uncle? Siraj. Siraj. When you love something, you keep talking about it, man. He's younger than me. MashaAllah. When you love something, you mention it a lot. One of the ways to create, one of the signs of love of Allah, and one of the ways to create love of Allah. It's almost an interesting relationship, is to engage in a lot of dhikr of Allah. It's a sign of love, but it creates love too. When I was getting married, I used to just say her name, get it used to it. Sarah, Sarah. Just practicing. I was just practicing. It was still engagement, but I'm practicing. Sarah, Sarah, Sarah. Just practicing. That's it. When you love something, you mention it a lot. So, is it? Oh, we're good. MashaAllah. Okay, so we talked about the Quran. I want to come back to the Quran for a moment here. I want to come back to the Quran. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us specifically about Ramadan. One of the things that I want you to get from the Quran, Allah says, مِنَ الْهُدَى وَالْفُرْقَانِ. What is a furqan? What is furqan? A criterion by which you can distinguish between haqq and batil, truth and falsehood. Now let me tell you something. You may think that you cognitively, emotionally have the ability to distinguish between good and bad. What? I got news for you. Your perception is very speculative at the most. Anyone like fried food? Don't be acting pious, all right? Anyone like fried food? All right. You know when you smelling it being cooked? You know how you start salivating a bit? Right? The sisters acted pious with the fried food. Ever had a stomach flu and smelled fried food? What does it make you want to do? Puke. Right? I got a question. Is the smell bad? But it makes you want to throw up? Why? Because you're sick. Ain't nothing wrong with the smell. Smell smells just as good as it did the day before. But your perception of it is different today. Because why? You're sick. Listen closely. The deen, the Quran, Muhammad, alayhi salatu wasalam, this deen is beautiful. It smells amazing. But for some of us, we read something, we hear something, na'udhu billah, it may make us feel sick to our stomach. You know why though, right? Same exact example. Do you understand what I mean by this? Ibn Qayyim al-Jawzi, he says, a sick man will taste honey and it tastes bitter. He said, don't blame the honey. Give this man a cure so he can really taste what honey tastes like. Allah says one of the benefits of the Quran coming and what you should Ramadan, Furqan. Allah gives you Furqan. Write this down. You want moral compass calibration. Write it down. MCC, I guess, whatever. Moral compass calibration. What does a compass do? What does a compass do? Directs me, right? Right? When you take it out and you look for Qibla, what do you have to do first? You have to calibrate it. If you don't calibrate it, guess what? North, east might be pointing that way. So you calibrate it. And after you calibrate it, it's good. Perfect. I know which way to go. One of the ideas and the goal of you connecting to the Quran, you reading the Quran, you spending time around people of Allah, is that they calibrate your moral compass. Watch here. Because this is where the moral compass lies. Let me prove it to you. A man by the name of Wabisa, he comes to the Prophet ﷺ to ask a question. As he's coming, Rasul ﷺ, he sees him coming and he says, Ya Wabisa, jitta tas'al anil bir wal itham. Ya Wabisa, you came to ask about what's a good deed and what's a bad deed, didn't you? What is king? Wabisa goes, yes, that's exactly what I was about to ask. He's asking, what's good? What's bad? What's north? What's south? Tell me what those things are. What does the Prophet ﷺ say? Ya Wabisa, istafti qalbak. Ask your heart. Ask your heart. Now for me and you, if we ask our heart, yeah, someone cleared their throat, good one. Yes. Because if we ask our hearts right now, I might be doing all types of whack stuff. My heart is in no means in the place to be asking. Because it's not calibrated. Oh. Because it's not calibrated. He says to him, Ya Wabisa, istabti qalbak. Al-haka fi sadrik. Itham is what your heart, it scratches at your heart. It nags at your consciousness. You feel something's wrong there. وَالْبِرْ مَطْمَعَنَّ إِلَيْكَ النَّفْسِ. Bir is what you feel good at. Good is what your nafs feels good at. The point I'm trying to highlight here is that the Prophet ﷺ is telling you your heart is the thing that you need. Your heart is the thing that needs to be guided. And that's why you have to, in the month of Ramadan, connect to the Quran. Why? If you don't, you won't have the calibration. You won't know right from wrong. You won't be able to understand that. Let me give you a deeper example. You ever take a compass and put a small magnet near it? Come on, I have like 5-year-olds. We do all this stuff now. You ever put a small magnet near the compass? What does it do? It messes it up. Now here's my question. Is the magnetic pull of that small magnet stronger than the North and the South Pole? By no means. How does it throw off the compass then? Simple. It's closer. It's closer. Many of us, our compass is all screwed up because our friend, they just right next to me all day. My coworker. In my last halakha, somebody was like, family. I was like, oh, dang. Y'all got some issues, but yeah, it could be family. No, you understand the example. That magnet put right next to the compass throws it off. So you may have a coworker at work, you know what's right and wrong, but whenever I sit next to Janet, I don't know, Rob, okay. Huh? Janet from HR, there you go. Whenever I sit next to Janet from HR, all of a sudden, I start thinking stupid stuff. I don't even my mind's all messed up. Why? Same exact thing. Moral compass. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala specifically says, one of the things you want to gain from Ramadan is called Furqan. What is Furqan? Moral compass is set. The moral compass is set. I'll give you another example of moral compass calibration as well. One time a young man, he came to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and a young man, he wanted to accept Islam. So he comes and he says, Ya Rasulullah, I'm here to accept Islam, walakin i'dhin li fi zina. He says, but I got one exception. Please allow zina. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. Sahaba ready to pounce on him, everything. Prophet says, calm down, come close. He sits with the young man, and wallah, if you study the psychological methods of of teaching that the Prophet ﷺ used, it's just alone a teaching in top-notch, high-level psychological methods of therapy. Amazing, amazing. If I had to give you an example, but I wrote a book on this topic. You can buy the book. Shameless plug. It's all good. Okay. So anyways, the point being here, the point is really interesting. The young man says, by the time I got up from the Prophet ﷺ, there was no sin I hated more than zina. The heart was literally in that gathering calibrated to such an extent that if you asked him after, he would have been like, zina? Messed up, wrong, it's bad. If you asked him before that, he'd be like, what's wrong with zina? That's moral compass calibration right there. That's when the heart is set. That's when you've been guided. And that's something we have to gain from the blessed month of Ramadan through the Quran, through understanding, through listening to the Quran, and to connecting with the Quran. Now that may mean you have to read it in your language. Alhamdulillah. In fact, I encourage a lot of the shabab, read it in English. You've read it in Arabic 1,000 times. Great. I'm not saying give up the Arabic reading. What I'm saying is I need you to understand what you're reading. Because it's going to touch your heart, it's going to talk to your soul, and it's going to wake you up. So sometimes you just got to read in your language. You have to do that. Until you, when you learn it and you can go straight to the Arabic, mashallah, you know, you're high level. But until then, you need a daily dose of just understanding exactly what Allah wants you to know. And that's through your language. How many people, don't be shy, how many people have done a khatam of the Quran in Arabic? How many people have done it? Once in your life in Arabic. Once in your life. I'm not looking around. I don't even want to see. Now, next point. How many people have done the khatam of the Quran in a language you understand? A lot less. A lot less. Wait, hold on. Your whole life, you never read the Quran in your language? What? It makes no sense. How does that even register here? Think about that for a moment. There are non-Muslims who've read the whole Quran in English. Whole Quran. You have to read it in a language, a lugha, that hits your heart directly. So at least one time you know God said these words. Allah said these words. I'm not belittling reciting in Arabic. You got to learn how to read. That's fard. You got to learn how to read. What I'm talking about is you need ruhani elevation. And that means you need to understand the khitab of Allah. You need to understand what Allah is saying to you. You need to understand that. So we spoke about 3 things. Did we finish the third? We didn't. Jazakallah. We did the cognitive benefit. We did the spiritual benefit. And what was the last benefit? Physical benefit. You can lose weight. Though the physical benefit that I wanted to address with you guys regarding the Quran is that you learn a type of self-discipline through this month. And I wanted to talk in depth about self-discipline because self-discipline is something for the millennials that is kind of hard for us. If something is hard to do, we really don't want to do it. You know what I'm saying? But something being hard and sacrifice and self-discipline is a key part of progressing anything. Kobe Bryant says what? 4 a.m., right? Kobe Bryant says what? For Kobe Bryant's a basketball player, uncles, aunties. He's really good. And he says, how did you get to this level? He says 4 a.m. What does he mean by 4 a.m.? Meaning 4 a.m. in the morning, I'm on the basketball court practicing. I'm sacrificing sleep. I'm disciplined. So whatever it is you want to achieve in life, you have to do it through discipline, self-discipline. And there was a study, I'm sure many of you have seen this study. Have you seen the marshmallow study? All right, if you haven't seen the marshmallow test, maybe we could put it, it would be cool to put it on the thing and watch it. So back in the 70s, they did this test. They did this test where they took a bunch of kids from the ages of like 7 or 8 to like 4, and they put them in a room, the camera was in front, and they would put a marshmallow on the table. And they said, okay, if you don't marshmallow, when we come back, will give you 2. Okay? So they put the marshmallow, they leave the room, the camera's running. And wallah, you go on YouTube and watch it, it's hilarious. Because some of the kids, they'll take it, lick it, put it back. You know, some of them, the moment the door closed, they're like, done, done. But some of them, they're like waiting, and they're like, ugh, what do I do? You can see they're struggling. You know why they're struggling? The limbic aspect of our mind is developed at a very young age, the limbic aspect. And that's just about eating and what you want right now. But the neocortex, which processes decision-making and delayed gratification, the neocortex comes way later. So my boss, who's 2, the word later mean anything to him. It doesn't, what I mean, it doesn't mean anything. His brain is not developed enough to know what later means because the neocortex isn't developed enough. But once you get to about 3 and 3.5, you should have enough neocortex development to understand delayed gratification. And they say if a child is 3.5 and doesn't understand delayed gratification, it's maybe because they were neglected as a child. You didn't do what you were supposed to be doing as a parent. There's a problem. They should understand delayed gratification. We got like 18-year-olds that don't understand delayed gratification now. So here's the amazing thing about the study. You know what's the crazy part about it? They followed these kids for the next 30 years. And across the board, those who had this ability of delayed gratification in childhood were more successful in their life. They knew how to adopt enough so they could control themselves. They had discipline. They had discipline in themselves. Genetically, they had more of it than other people. The point, though, this is a month of sabr, shahrul sabr. It's a month. What does sabr mean? Don't say patience. Patience is not the best translation for sabr. Sabr means you know, there's a saying, ash-shuja' sabr sa'a. Bravery is sabr of a moment. You know, someone jumps in your face, you got to just be brave right then. Like, what's up? Right? Just that moment. You want to run, but you're like, what's up? Sabr sa'a, that's bravery. Sabr just means to hold it. That's all sabr means, to hold yourself. Hold it, hold it, hold it, hold it. A little longer, hold it. That's sabr. Not patience. Patience is, sometimes it fits that way. But to develop sabr, Rasul said this is the month of sabr. And that sabr is part of self-control and self-discipline. So this is a month in which Allah forces, you know, you have employee training. Your boss is like, we got employee training. You're like, all right. They're like, but it's mandatory. It's like, dang. Like, come on. This is like mandatory employee training, right? Allah's like, you're going to learn sabr this month, yo. You have to learn it. But the lesson through that is success comes through that. Success comes through that. Success comes through that. So I was given the signal that we only have 6 to 7 minutes. So what we'll do, inshallah, is just open it up for questions and comments, inshallah ta'ala.
So we don't have many questions that were sent in. If you want to send them in as we answer some of these, you can. But I'm sure you'll take some questions from the crowd right now as well, right?
No.
So one question that was asked, Ramadan is the holiest month of the year and should obviously be taken advantage of. However, some Muslims do not even practice Ramadan, and as a duty of all Muslims, we should try to bring others closer to Allah. I feel like it is taking away from my time for ibadah if I try to spend time bringing others closer to Allah. What should I focus on, myself or others?
Yourself. It's Ramadan. Prophet ﷺ climbed the minbar. He said Ameen 3 times. Ameen 3 times. Who did he say Ameen against? Jibreel said, may that person be far from Allah who reaches Ramadan and doesn't get the forgiveness of Allah. Prophet ﷺ said Ameen. Ameen, Allah is making dua. Ameen fil ard is saying Ameen. Focus on yourself in this month. If it's a close relative, you do. If it's your son, if it's your mother, if it's close, focus, help them. You know, do what you can. But you shouldn't be trying to save the world in Ramadan. You should have been doing that in Sha'ban. Why you got to save the world in Ramadan? See, shaitan, Ibn Qayyim al-Jawzi explains, shaitan doesn't always tell you to do bad stuff. You know what he also tells you to do? Do good stuff at the wrong time. You know how you want to read a book, but you do? Come on, y'all acting all pious. Like I'm the only one that does that. You want to read the book, but you like, I got homework to do, but this is good anyway. I'm increasing my vocabulary. No, Ramadan is about yourself and getting close to Allah. Now, some of us are more inclined to community work and helping people, and we're not so much time in ibadah. I would say if that's the case, still carve out time for your worship and your connection with Allah. And if you must, yes, you can help the people. But I feel that month, the month before that is the time that you should have been focusing on bringing people closer to Allah, not in that specific month. Nonetheless, there's no cookie cut answers for everyone. We all have different temperaments. Yes? It's a great ibadah. That's why I said, personally, you ask me personally, I think that's the month you focus on yourself. But I understand what you're saying. Definitely you bring someone close. No. It's not about being selfish, brother. It's about realizing that, I took a flight here, right? And you know what they say before every flight? Y'all know it already. Secure your mask before you fix the mask of somebody else. You got to make sure you're on track first. Once I'm on track, then I'm going to be trying to help everybody I can. But until I get some level of safety secured, my mask is on, all right, cool, you need some help? Then I'm going to start helping people. Now, I'm not saying you don't help at all, uncle. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that you need to worry about yourself for some time. You need to focus on bettering yourself. At some time, Ramadan is a time for you to focus on yourself. Wallahu a'lam. Allah knows best. Wallahu a'lam. The sister had a question. Bismillah. No, she had a question before break too. Yeah. With the heart in mind, the emotional and moral intelligence of the Prophet ﷺ. With the heart in mind, the moral and emotional intelligence of the Prophet ﷺ. If you're on social media, it's on my Instagram and on Facebook. If you're not on either one of those, you can go to Qalam Institute, where I teach. You can find it on their website. It's either qalam.foundation or qalamseminary.org. Qalam, QALAM.foundation. Oh.
What everybody says that you need 7 to 8 hours of sleep every day,
Yeah. The question is, studies, well, I mean, these change all the time, but they say you need 8 hours of sleep a night, or else you're going to be harming yourself. I mean, the Prophet ﷺ wasn't getting 8 hours, man. I would ask some specialists on that issue. You do need enough sleep for your own well-being. Everyone's a bit different. So I don't want to give like advice on that. I know you should limit and just keep it to what you normally sleep a bit. But some of us, the opposite. When Ramadan comes, we just sleep. That for sure is dangerous. Like the moment you get home from work, 2:30, you're like, I'm just going to sleep till Maghrib. That's problematic. You're not getting the benefit of Ramadan. You know what I'm saying? We sleep more in Ramadan. That's what I'm talking about. And that's what, especially summertime too. Now people don't have school. So like, what am I do all day? I'm going to stay up all night. I'm going to eat at the time. And I'm going to sleep until Maghrib. You didn't fast. It counted. But you didn't get the spiritual benefit from that, right? So, but I would talk to my specialist, someone who is a Muslim physician that understands and what's good for me. But I would just avoid excess sleeping, but try to get at least those 6 to 8 hours, I guess. I wish I could get 8 hours, man. Who gets 8 hours here? Y'all get 8 hours? Huh? Yeah, right? All right, next question. Yeah, drawing blood doesn't break fast. Cavity filling would be kind of dangerous. I wouldn't do it during fasting. If I had to, I wouldn't fast that day. If I had a procedure that could not be changed, I would not fast that day. You should not fast. But if it was a mandatory that had to happen, then I'm not going to break the fast. I'm not going to fast. But other than that, I'm going to try to do it outside of Ramadan, so I don't have to break it.
If you don't mind, about asking your heart, you said some people the things that you must speak about, and then the things that scratches
Al-itham, sin. Sin scratches at it. It feels uncomfortable. When the heart is calibrated. If the heart isn't calibrated, sin feels great.
There's a question for someone who is old and can't fast but has some fasts to make up. What should they do?
No, once a person can't fast anymore, they just pay the fidya for all their missed fasts. Okay? Once a person cannot fast anymore, they just give the fidya for all the past fasts.
There's a question. Salam, what advice do you have for parents of young kids in Ramadan?
Yeah, young kids, we want them to experience it. We want them to enjoy. They need to see, like, they say in Urdu, the ronak, right? The shine of Ramadan. They need to be in the masjid. Don't worry about the people complaining about kids in the masjid. You need to watch them, obviously. In Houston, Texas, we had an issue last year. I don't know if you guys heard up here about the kids running in the parking lot, and one of them, passed away because of that. So I know what I'm in the masjid, we just let them run. It's just like, whew, go. That I don't recommend. You got to teach the children how to be in the masjid. But still, nonetheless, mashallah, we hear the kids playing there. They're going to have great memories about being in the masjid. So I think masjid they have to be at every day. I think fasting, you give them a half a day fast. You know what I'm saying? They fast until Asr. They fast until, well, it's probably going to be like till 12 o'clock. But, you know, you let them experience some of that if they like. But I think it's just about, this is summary, you want positive imagery attached to Ramadan. Positive imagery here. Okay? They want to look back at Ramadan when they're 17, 18, and be like, oh, yeah, man, Ramadan, yo. That Ru Afza was so good. Yeah, I don't drink Ru Afza, it looks like. Yes. Accidentally swallow a rock, you got to make it up.
There's a question for the college students. Any advice for those who have to take final exams and balance in the fasting and sleep deprivation?
Allah will put barakah in your time and in your health, inshallah. Allah will put barakah. Trust Allah more, okay? Trust Allah. Allah will put barakah. Barakah is real. God doesn't punish you for doing things out of love for Him. So there'll be barakah, inshallah. The idea is, it's counterintuitive, obviously, right? But no, you're doing it for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, okay? I'll tell you a story. It doesn't have to do with Ramadan, but it shows you the power of Allah. At Qalam, students that come to study for 1 year, okay? So many of them, what they do is, many of them get into med school, and then they defer their entry for a year, and then they come and study at Qalam for a year. So we have a lot of students that defer entry into med school and they study 1 year, okay? So last year, we had a student by the name of Abdurrahman, Syrian brother, beautiful, mashallah. He got accepted to Stanford Med. And he deferred his, so that he can come and study at Qalam. So they accepted the deferral. He went to Qalam. He was studying with us, and a scholarship opened up while he was studying. He said, Bismillah, why not apply? He ended up applying. He got a full ride. Full ride, Stanford Med. If he hadn't just went to Qalam, he wouldn't have been eligible for that. But the fact that he sacrificed something for Allah, like he didn't know that was going to come. Point being, I know it's hard. The question came earlier, can I not fast due to exams? No, you have to fast. That's part of our deen. I mean, you have to fast. Sahaba had Ramadan in like Badr, guys. Like Uhud. Like they're in war. I mean, I think enough said, kind of like. You know what I'm saying? I'm not mitigating your struggle. I'm mitigating that. I'm telling you, God will reward you for that struggle. Allah will bless you. You will see the benefit of that. But you got to have faith and trust and believe that Allah will bless me through that. Yes? No, if you're traveling, you can not fast. But remember, you got to make it up anyway. So like, it'll be times later. You know, when no one's fasting and you're the only one that has to fast, it's harder than when everyone else is fasting. You know what I'm saying? So if you're telling yourself that I'll do it later, are you just playing with yourself, you know? But from a fiqh perspective, if you're traveling, yeah, you don't have to fast. Right? You know what I mean, right? You don't legally have to, but remember, you got to make it up.
Salam. Should we limit seeking Islamic knowledge and attending in Ramadan?
Should we limit seeking knowledge? Well, there's so much ibadah and worship to do that I don't know how much time a person has. You have like Taraweeh going on, you have iftar, you have all of these things happening. I don't know how many like sessions for learning halaqat there are in Ramadan. I would focus more on reading the Quran, dhikr, and connecting with God in that month. Do you understand what I mean? Like, I don't use Ramadan to study and learn. I do my necessary fard work, I go to work, that's it. But after that, it's all just extra ibadah. And then with the children, that's a fard as well, playing with them and stuff. But other than that, any extra time, not Netflix, not Prime Time, Amazon, no. Any extra time is all going to extra ibadah. Extra ibadah. That means reading, dhikr, dua, stuff like that. And of course, family.
I think this will be the last question, inshallah. While undergoing chemotherapy, I did not fast but gave fidya. However, after recovering, should I make up the fast?
Yes. Yes.
Well, Jazakallah khair, Imam Mikaeel, for your hard work
Jazakallah
and
khair.
for your knowledge. Inshallah, stay in your seats, please. The food will be distributed to you guys in your seats.
MashaAllah.
And then afterwards, we will head over for Salah, inshallah.
Jazakallah khair. Thank you everyone for coming, inshallah. I'd love to come back and actually do a workshop on the book itself, the emotional intelligence of the Prophet ﷺ. So if you guys want to arrange that for post-Ramadan, I would love to come and do that. That would be a great workshop that we could do together, inshallah. Just the brothers here who brought me, you can reach out to them and we could do that, inshallah. And you can find the link to the book on my social media, or if you don't have social media, just go to Qalam Institute and you follow the links, you'll find it there, inshallah. Okay? Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum.